Hey, thanks for stopping by the channel, guys. So this is where we left at the end of video 1 in our Castle Grayskull build. So in this video, we'll get the castle finished up, and then I'll show you how I use a couple pieces of the 1/4-inch foam core board and carved a couple more pieces of foam to build this display. That's all coming up. Okay guys, so this is the process that I use for carving the rock work into the foam. The first thing I did is I just used a black Sharpie to kind of rough out what I wanted the stonework to look like on each piece. And this is the same exact process that I used on the wall and the corbels and everything that I used or that I put together in the first video. So again here, these are the last couple pieces that I had to do the rock work on, so I'm just roughing it out using a black Sharpie. So once I have all of the rock work drawn in, I just take my Dremel, I have a little cutting tip on it, and I trace over everything. I have my Dremel set on level 2, I think that's the lowest setting I have, and I just have some patience. I just put in some earbuds and some good music and I go to town. So next up, I just take a sanding block and I go to work knocking everything down, smoothing things out, and I can knock the corners off the stairs or do any gouging or, you know, any sort of fading, aging work that I want to using the sanding block. With all the sanding done, I grab my heat gun and I just give everything a nice easy blast. I don't want to get too close, I don't want to overcook it, but this will do a good job to kind of burn off any of the burrs that are left, and then it really kind of accentuates the carving work. You can see it come together here as I hit it with the heat. It actually makes for a pretty cool effect. So I did this on all of the rock work for the castle. Okay, so now that I have the carving done, I'm going to use some of this great stuff to glue the pieces together, the stair pieces with the columns and all that kind of stuff. And then I'll use some wood screws, bury them into the foam, and we'll get everything attached, and then we'll let that set overnight. Because if you've ever worked with this stuff, you get it on your hand, it's a heck of a mess to get cleaned up. So. But you can carve it, so anything that does get on anything or anywhere I don't want, I can cut it off and then take care of it during the painting process, so it'll blend right in. So let me get this stuff set up and I'll come back and I'll show you the assembly. Alright guys, so I think one of the first things I'll do is assemble this section and use this kind of as my, I was just using some of these T-pins before, and I still might bury a few of those in there, but try using the spray foam as the glue and get this section put together. And when I had it mocked up, I came from the backside with some 3-inch wood screws. So I think I'll use a combination of those two things. We'll get this piece built, we'll get it mounted to the base, we'll mount the castle to the base, and then we'll start in with the rest of the foam work and see if we can't get that all mounted. Okay, so there's the first one. I did not put a ton of foam on here either. I'll show you. It's nice and slow. watch though, it just makes a big old mess. But that should bond it plenty good is my hope. So we will see. I'll just continue with this. I know I got to put a bead across here. Like I said, it's going to be better to clean this up afterwards once this stuff has set up, because you can carve it with a knife pretty easy. Where if you try to mess with it while it's wet, it just gets everywhere and makes a heck of a mess. So I do not want to do that. At least that's my hope. So here's the back side. Everything's been glued and screwed. I use that great stuff, and it's a urethane, so I'm going to let this set for a couple days before I mess with it. And I should be able to come back through with a utility knife and then a X-Acto knife and clean and carve everything up the way I want, get it ready for paint. So, but you can kind of see the general idea what I was talking about by adding that third wall, having the stairs come down, the upper level, the lower level, and then if you come out the side here, you got the outside area to play. So I think for play value, and then this is what it'll look like up on the shelf as a display. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. So anyways, we'll call that for tonight. So I let everything set for a couple days, and then I spent about a day using an X-Acto knife and a piece of sandpaper to go through and trim everything back and sand it back to make it blend in the best I could. And now I'm just using some green paint that I had, airbrush paint, and I'm just using this to kind of seal the foam and really just kind of be a base coat. I'll go over this. I was hoping this was going to work out a little better than it did. It's kind of cool, but it's not really the look I'm going for. You can see here, it does kind of have a look to it, but it's not what I was going for. All right, guys, so I went through and I repainted the rock work. I had that kind of pearl green that was a little bit more, kind of had a little more pop to it. It looked kind of neat, but it didn't really go with the original colors of the castle, which is really what I want to kind of represent here with this build. So I got some apple barrel paints and just started kind of custom mixing stuff, and I got it to where it's close, and I did a little highlighting on the castle, the original 2 plastic pieces, to where it blends in reasonably well, or well enough. You can see I got some brown. I painted the wood features and the shingles on the tower and the bump out, and I gotta let that dry, and I'll come through and I'll do some dry brushing on that with another, at least one more coat of paint to do some dry brushing, and maybe 2 different colors just to kind of give it some depth. The other thing that I'm thinking about doing is, I'll show you here, I got these little dowels and I painted them brown, and I'm thinking about putting 4 or 5 of them across here just to break this up a little bit. I've got brown on these 2 sides of the castle, and this is just all green, kind of real vertical. So I think that will help kind of tie that in as well. So I'm going to start working on that. I'm just going to drill these holes using a cordless drill, and then I'll just use a little bit of hot glue to stab those in there. So let me get the camera set up and I'll show you that. So these holes kind of over drilled in that foam, so they don't fit just right. The glue will take care of that, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a little bit of black paint to paint that interior just a little bit, give it some shadows, rather than just sticking them in there and having that, worrying about that pink shown. Okay, so I'm just going to use a glue gun here to glue these in. Let's see which way works the best. But you can see by painting that, filling that hole with the black, now it just looks like a shadow rather than a mess. And just stab these in there, get them kind of equal. Okay, so I'll keep working on these. I'll get these in and then I'll come back. So I got the rest of these dowels in here, and what a difference that makes by adding just that little hint of brown like we've got on the front of the castle and over on the side, but it also gives a little bit more dimension. I think it ties in this new section that I'm doing with the rest of the castle really, really well. All right, so you can see I got the dry brushing work done on the shingles and the wood beams, and I'm pretty happy with how that came out. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get my airbrush out and just get some black, and I'm gonna do some shadow work just to kind of bring out some little details here and there, and we'll see how that goes. So my original plan was just to do some airbrush work around the face, the skeletal portion on the front of the castle, but I ended up just going to town and I did around every single block. I used it to around the shingles just to really add a ton of depth to the whole piece. And what it ended up doing was the foam work, the new foam work, and the old plastic work, when it was all said and done, you have a hard time telling the difference between the two, which is what I was going for. Everything looks seamless. So I was really pleased with this, the way it all turned out. Here's a picture of the back side. I just used some nutmeg brown on that upper level. It's going to be great for play value. Then I went to work on the drawbridge. I just used some nutmeg brown, and then I did some dry brushing work with territorial beige, and then I used gunmetal gray on the metalwork, and then used some silver doing some dry brushing, and that was it. I hit everything with 4 coats of a spray sealer from Krylon, and it turned out fantastic. I used a couple pieces of 1/4-inch foam core board. I carved a couple more little shelves with the rock work and painted those. Printed out a little He-Man Masters of the Universe logo off the internet to make my backdrop that you'll see. And this is going to be great for displaying figures. You can display about 9 figures with the current configuration. We put some lights in here. Here it is without the lights, and then here it is with the lights. This turned out really cool. I'm really happy with it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.